Well, hello, hello. It has been quite some time here. Let me go ahead and increase the light here. All right, there we go. Yeah, it's been a minute, and I'm here to say that I have finished The Crippled God by Stephen Erickson, the 10th and final book of Malazan Book of the Fallen. I finished it. I'm officially done with this series, and it's crazy and bittersweet to sort of say those words. I think it's always sort of sad finishing a series. I think because when you start a series, you're kind of like in this sort of awe and amazement and like, oh, like where are we gonna go, where are we gonna end up, what am I gonna see, what's gonna happen, and it's always kind of like oh, like next book, the story continues on, like after book three, book four, book five, book six, but eventually all good things must come to an end. All great stories must have a conclusion. And I will say that um, the Crippled God ending of Malazan is a great conclusion. I'll get into rankings and things like that probably in a different video. But and I'll keep this. I'll make sure this video is more about the Crippled God instead of like a full series review and everything. I will do another like series review about Malazan and how I feel about Malazan as a whole and how I like Malazan and stuff. But here I will contain my thoughts about the series and just keep it all about the Crippled God. So first things first about the Crippled God. Again, this is like the second half of the ending, right? If Dust of Dreams is the first half, this is like the back half, the second half. And I'm not gonna lie, it kind of reads like that a little bit. I mean, just how similar to how like Dust of Dreams had a prologue and no epilogue. The Crippled God, there's no prologue. You just kind of pick it up and you're just like right back into the action of things. There's no prologue. There are two epilogues, which is different, but we'll get into that later on. Um, yeah, I guess the one thing I kind of want to emphasize a little bit is that Steven Erickson is, at the end of the day, in my opinion, is just he's a theme-based writer. I mean, all writers and books have themes, obviously, but I feel like Erickson, I think he writes themes. He writes about themes. His characters are like, in my opinion, vehicles and vessels for those themes. So I think thematically, I think this is an amazing book. Not to say that there's no action or there's no stakes and battles, and not to say that we don't lose people in this book. We lose a lot of great characters in this book series and in this final installment. Um, but like if you're looking for some like MCU Endgame adventure, like all your favorite characters team up together and fight the bad guy, and they're like making snarky quips and come like that's not this ending. That's not Erickson's style, and I think by 10 books you kind of picked up on that. Like don't get me wrong, there are battles in this book and battles in the series, obviously, but um, the themes come first. Like what themes are you trying to convey here? And like I guess the best example I have is probably like the refugee train line of children, which believe it or not, wasn't my least favorite plot line in Dust of Dreams, and I kind of liked it. But those like poems and stuff were a little bit over my head, a little bit, if I'm being honest. Especially on the first read, but I liked it in the moment. I didn't like hate reading about Badal and them going through the desert. I found it very I found it very like sad and morbid and just a very sad read. I mean, Dust of Dreams is in my opinion, a very dark book, right? Is the Dust of Dreams? That's a very dark title, right? Um, and you read about that no the children and stuff, and I forget which character it was, but one of the children is walking around with like a bag full of things, is what Badal calls it, and eventually it's revealed in the Crippled God once the children meet up with the Malazans and stuff. It's like a bag full of toys, and it sort of like hits you where it's like, oh my god, like all these kids are just like they've lost all their innocence. That now these kids are like they're just wandering around the desert. They're like hungry. They're starving. They're scared, alone, and they forgot about how to be children. They forgot what it meant to be a child, and this like loss of innocence and this loss of childhood. And you know, that's what I kind of mean about the crippled God in itself delivers on a lot of those themes and a lot of those plot points. And um, I'll kind of like again, I can't get into every single character. I can't talk about every single thing. But I will kind of like do my best to kind of keep this. I mean, I say short, but it's probably gonna be like an hour long video. That's like most of my videos. But um, characters I really loved. I mean, Tavor. I mean, my favorite scene with. I mean, there's a few favorite scenes I have with her in this book, but one of them is they are walking through the desert, and it's like mutiny is about to break out. Right, there people are. The camp is restless. They're starving. They're hungry. The horses are dying. Um, and now that they have this train of children to take care of, things are even more dire, right? And Tavor, who has the knife that Male gave her back in Dust of Dreams, um, they're like wandering the desert, and they wonder like, well, this god gave you this knife, use the knife. Like, what does this knife even do? And then she she says something along the lines of like, haven't I bled enough, or haven't you drank enough, or whatever, you know what I mean? And so something along those lines. And she cuts her hand, and then the whole desert fills up with water. But like beneath their feet, the whole desert fills up with water, which I guess makes sense given like Male, the god of the sea, gives you a knife that summons water. I guess that kind of makes sense. Um, but it's like this beautiful metaphor of like Tavor has in itself been like the life force. She's been like the blood of this army, right? It's all I mean, going our way back to like um oh god, House of Chains, you know, and it got and this, you have the Felison and Shaik and the rebel army in Seven Cities, Igatan, you have Malaz City, you have um Lether and the Lether army and the Edor. You have Kaching Naruk and the Glass Desert and the Fork Royal Sail. It's like all this shit, and she just keeps pushing, pushing, pushing forward, And of course, you get to the final scene with her where she's fighting the Fork Royal Sail. She's damaged, she's bloodied. I think her arm's broken. Even she is damaged, she's hurt, and she's about to like keel over, and then Ganowis, her brother, saves her. And the first word out of her mouth is "I lost her," referring to Felison. I lost her. I lost her. And it's like it just hits you like a ton of bricks because it's like, oh wow, like she has been harboring these emotions, harboring these feelings. It and it's why I think Erickson chose not to make her a POV character. Like we're like never in her POV, and it's because like yeah, because she's like battling with all these fucking demons. Like she probably feels this immense guilt and shame of like losing her younger sister, and she feels that, and she probably feels terrible and horrible about all that. So she's probably like, damn, like, but she can't express that. She can't say that to her army because she's also has to lead them through this fucking desert, and if she's always described as like being stoic and being emotionless and cold iron. That's like a very classic way of that is how people describe Tavor as being cold iron. Very calculating, I guess. And you can never get a read on her what she's thinking, but it's not until she sees her brother does she actually finally break down and just like show off her. She finally can like she can take off like the mask, like she can take it off and like finally express how she's feeling. And I think that's a very beautiful scene. I think that's a very beautiful moment. And yeah, I think moving on from there with Tavor, I think she's like an amazing character. Um, it makes me kind of want to be inside her head more, but at the same time, it works knowing that we're not in her head because again, like that would kind of give away a lot of like the emotional payoff down the line. But yeah, just knowing like this whole time she's been harboring this feeling, and like, of course, she doesn't know that she was the one that actually stabbed Fellison, right? She doesn't know that, but like, and there's a part of me that kind of was like, well, I kind of want her to know. I want her to kind of find out and know that she was the one who did it. But like at the end of the day, like, hasn't she suffered enough? Like, like, hasn't this poor woman suffered enough at this point? She already thinks she killed her sister. Like, she sent her to the mines. She already thinks she died, and she was the one to do it. Like, what does it serve her knowing that she was the one that who literally stabbed her sister? Like she already thinks she killed her. So that's where I kind of stand with Tavor. I think I'm Team Tavor. I love Tavor. I think she's an amazing character, and like, I'll be so I can't, like, when I do reread this series, it's gonna be I'm definitely gonna be like focusing my eyes onto Tavor and reading every scene with Tavor and just kind of like understanding like where she's coming from and stuff. Um, so that's Tavor. I guess the other parent sibling, Ganois. Man, I remember the day when I first read Gardens of the Moon. I thought like, man, I can't wait to see my boy Ganois and what he's gonna do and stuff. And like my boy Ganois does not disappoint. Granted, I thought he would be like the main character, and he really isn't. Like, if you're looking at this like page time, like he's he makes a big showing in Gardens, obviously, Memories of Ice, Bone Hunters, and then like he shows up in Crippled God. But you can argue that Fiddler is probably more of a main character than Ganois, and I'll get the Fiddler too. And yeah, Ganois, his I love his like powers. I love his and he just has this like presence on the page. He's not the same character from Memories of Ice. He's not the same character from Gardens of the Moon. Like, this is like full on like master of the deck, like take no shit, get shit done. Gano's fucking parent, and like, God, I fucking love it. The way he just like kills a fucking folklore sales and just like gets shit done. I fucking like he's like a presence on the page. Like, when I read like Gano's parent, I'm like, oh, okay, this is gonna be a good fucking scene then. Because any scene with Gano's, I love. I just love Gano's. I love him. I love his character. I love his like one-liners. Like, I think there's like a scene with the folklore sale because they can use their like, I guess it's like their voice can compel people. I guess it's like mind control. I don't know. Um, and I think like the folklore sale like tells him to like kill himself or whatever the fuck. And Gannis is like, "What was that? I didn't hear you. I can't. Oh, were you whisper? Did you say something to me? Oh, I'm sorry. I can't hear you from down here. Oh, you sound like a whisper. Like, just this like taunting, this like fuck you attitude, which is like not the Ganois from Memories of Ice, and not the Ganois. Like, this is the same guy that died and like the first like couple chapters of Gardens and then came back and stuff like not the same character, not the same character at all. Love my boy Ganois. Fiddler is another character I very much loved and enjoyed. And like seeing his character evolve, like he was such like a, I don't want to say nothing character in Gardens, but like I honestly couldn't tell you what he did in Gardens. I like it like if you told me like what did Fiddler do in Gardens of the Moon, I probably would say, I don't know, just like stood around. I don't know. I don't think he really did much in Gardens. Obviously, he does a lot more in Dead House Gates and eventually in House of Chains and so on. And just seeing his evolution as a soldier and his reluctance, like his reluctancy to become a soldier and be a general, and like his fear of like getting his people killed and stuff. It just kind of like, it's a beautiful way to kind of end his arc, when at the very end of the series where we see him kind of mirroring Gardens of the Moon prologue, where of course in the Gardens prologue it's like Whiskey Jack talking to a younger um Ganois, but here you have Fiddler talking to like a young child. We don't know who this child is, but some other small child who like wants to be a soldier and has like dreams of becoming a soldier in the army. And Fiddler's like, all right, dude, fine, whatever. I'm not gonna try to stop you. You're gonna do whatever you're gonna do. You know what I mean? Because Whiskey Jack did the same thing to Ganois, and now it's like, that didn't do anything. Um, So I thought that was a very beautiful way to end his character because, like, I think Hitler was done with the army. He was done with being a soldier. He was done with it. He just wanted to like play his fiddle, play music in taverns, and hang out with his friends. He wanted to retire. He wanted to be done with it all. Um, so I thought that was beautiful. I thought that was good. A good way to kind of end off his arc and stuff. And yeah, Fiddler was a great character. One of my favorite characters probably. Um, Another one of my favorite characters who I didn't really quite understand in this book is my boy Gruntle. I love Gruntle back all the way back from Memories of Ice. My boy Gruntle, my Tiger boy. I love him so much. He's great. Um, I loved him in Toll the Hounds, even though I don't think he did a whole lot in Toll the Hounds. Still love him though. And I'm not gonna lie, a little bit confused with his plot line and Cripple God. I don't I don't know. I understand his like beef with Drake. He's had issues with Drake for like since he became like the mortal sword for Drake, which okay, I get it. But then like I don't know. It just it felt a little like it ended too abruptly. It was like such a. I wasn't really clear about his motivations. And then like Trake is Kalava's son, which I'm like, was that a big reveal? Did we know that? I don't know. It felt a little bit rushed in my opinion. It didn't. I was struggling to kind of understand the whole plot and premise of it. I guess. Anyway, not my favorite to be honest. A little disappointing with how Trake how Gruntle dies, but fine, whatever. And then all these dragons get released, and look, I love me some dragons. I love the power and the destruction, and like I love me a good dragon. And there's a lot of dragons. Don't get me wrong. Like it's like described with like dragons are like raining out of the sky. And I understand Kilimandaris and the Errant's plan to like I guess well the Errant wants to like reclaim like the old he wants to kind of like destroy the world and like kind of reclaim his own power and stuff like that because like he is like the new gods have kind of like usurped a lot of the power of the old gods. So I get that. It is a little like I don't know, like out of all the other plot lines we have going on, like the crippled god, the folklore sale, I don't know. It doesn't really the dragons were fine. I feel like Calabas and TM. I don't know. Maybe on reread I'll get it more. The dragons don't really do a whole lot for me, if I'm being honest. The whole dragon plot line, it's cool. Don't get me. It's action packed. I mean, like it's like dragons raining from the sky. Like that's like I can't even comprehend something like that. But like it's cool to read about. Not my favorite plot line. It was fine. It was okay. I didn't hate it, but um, I guess I just felt like it kind of like sort of kind of came out of nowhere, and maybe that was me missing a lot of signs. Maybe I just missed a lot of foreshadowing, which is possible. I probably did, but I don't know. This is how I felt about it in the moment. Next, we get into like the Telecanian and like Kukava, I guess, and like Setok and like the Wolves of War. I guess I don't know. I feel like the whole Wolves of War was also a little bit like jarring in terms of how it ended. I guess it makes sense that like you have this like essentially this like cult of war who like yeah like if you think that like the whole point of war is just like fighting, that's what we're good at, right? We're good at war and this is like the whole point of war. I guess it makes sense that like you would then all like betray each other and just kill each other. I guess that makes sense. I don't know how it works thematically, I guess, because they all kind of kill themselves and kill each other. And then this other guy who I don't even remember, I don't even know this guy's name. He kind of just takes up the mantle and just kind of leads the Gray Swords. So I don't know. I felt like, but I didn't really care too much about the whole Gray Helms and Gray Swords plot line. The Wolves of War, I thought I liked them in Memories of Ice and stuff, and I thought they were cool, but I don't know thematically, I don't know right now how it all ties together. I guess like in terms of I guess like trusting each other. I guess like how you have to like trust. people in your companions and in war, and war for the sake of war is a disaster. You need to do more. You need something else to fight for than just like war for war's sake, right? I don't know. I'm kind of saying shit now. I don't know. Not my favorite, but I'm glad Pelicanian died. I didn't like his ass. Sucks that Kugava died and Setok. I kind of like them a little bit, although Setok was a little bit annoying too. I don't know. Kugava was cool. She was cool. I liked her. Um, I'm trying to think more about like um um Dracarys. Yeah, I think he was fine. Dracanis. He was okay. I don't know. I thought he would do a lot more, and he does kill like Kamandaris and I think her son. I forget. What did the Aaron die? I forget what happened to the Aaron. I forget if the Aaron dies or not. But yeah, Dracarys. I thought he was fine. I don't know. I hope he would do a lot more. Shadowthorn kind of shows up and it's been like, hey man, don't worry about it. We have all under control. And he's like, dope, okay, whatever. And this kind of like leaves. So like I kind of thought like he would be a bigger role because like only because like he was in the sword, and like I thought like Dragnapor, I thought he was gonna like do more with that, I guess. But again, I feel like Erickson has a tendency. You see a lot in all the books where like there's a lot of like plot lines and plot storylines that kind of you know you think they're gonna go somewhere, but they don't go anywhere. And then like this other storyline that you thought was, like it kind of creates a lot of like confusion and suspense, I guess. Like not like of course like not every single thing is gonna like lead to some crazy epic battle or something like that. So I thought that was fine, whatever. What did hit me the most though was Mappo's death. I'm not gonna. I never like loved Mappo's character. I never like loved even Deadhouse Gates. I Mappo and Ikarian were kind of like fine. I was kind of sad though when they got split up in Bone Hunters, and I was kind of hoping for their reunion together. Like I was really hoping, like, damn, like I really want them to have that reunion. I really want them to be together again. Um, but Mappo dying protecting Ikarian, not gonna lie, that shit kind of broke me. That was kind of sad. I'm not gonna lie. That kind of hurt a little bit. I was really hoping that they would get that reunion again and kind of and meet each other again. But then only for Ikarium to wake up and then like not to remember Mappo and then which again just ties back into this like unknown and like sacrifice and compassion. Like like it's like Mappo is now this like person who just died saving Ikarium, and Ikarium doesn't even remember it, doesn't even know it. And I guess Ubala plug. I don't know how I feel too much about that. I guess part of me is like I'm glad that like Ikarium is gonna have a friend who like isn't just being used by the nameless ones. And this is like this might be Ikarium's like first like genuine. Not that Mappo wasn't a genuine friend, but a genuine friend who like is wants to hang out with him and be with him, not because of some like guilt or like reasoning or like manipulation from some other group of people, but because like no, like I want to be like I want to hang out with you. I want to be your friend. And I think Ikarium wants that. I think Ikarium kind of needs that. I think that's what Ikarium needs. So I like that ending. Another character. There's a lot of different characters. I'm just kind of like rapid going here, but a little disappointed with Karsa. I didn't really know what Karsa was gonna do. I mean, I liked him in Told the Hounds. I'm glad he was in Told the Hounds, but then like he doesn't really do a whole lot. And like we get like these like quick, small little like I don't know like paragraphs of like, and then Carson and Samar Dev had sex, and it's like, oh, okay, that's cool. I mean, I kind of knew that was gonna happen, but like I don't know. I kind of thought he would do a lot more. And I know there's like the Witness trilogy, where it like kind of follows Karsa, so that's why I was kind of like, okay, well, if I don't get Karsa in this book, I'll probably get in like the other trilogies and things like that. So okay, fine. Um, but I will say like he does kill Fenar, which is cool, and then like all this fucking, and like, oh, and all this blood is like raining down on the battlefield, and everything's all bloody, and people get mixed up with the blood and stuff. Like the blood of this god is like, you know, it revived the flying moths, become eye masks, they become human again, or they become like, I guess, undead, unzombified, or whatever. Um, that's fucking cool and shit. Okay, I guess we're getting to like the final battle stuff, I guess. But Stormy and Gessler, like that, I thought their death was so impactful. And like, if you have told me that like these two random fucking dudes out of a bar were gonna become like the mortal shield handful for the change them all, and like they would have died, they you know, fought on the spire and he killed this Volker Sale, and I would have been like, what are you talking about? Like, this is Stormy and Gessler. But two new favorite characters. I love Stormy, I love Gessler, love their dynamic together. They're like butting heads. I love that. Yeah, I really, and the more I think about it, the more I really enjoy this book. I love this book. Like the fighting, the battles, everything about this book is amazing. I didn't even talk about Kirkanis. I haven't even talked a lot about Kirkanis. Like, you forget about Kirkanis a little bit, maybe because like, I don't know, the whole Tisty Andy, Tisty Leosian kind of stuff. Again, it felt a little bit like I was a little bit confused with the, like, I don't know, motivation. I guess the Tisty Leosian, they're bad and they just want to kill shit. They want to like take over Carcanis, which they don't. The Tisani don't want that. Um, but yeah, I thought it was a cool scene. I thought it was a cool battle. Yan Tovis is like Yerin Gittig. The Watch. I'm just gonna call him the Watch. The Watch is cool. I like the Watch. Cool character, badass fucking character. Um, so I don't know how I feel about Twilight as a character. I thought she was fine, but I don't know. I think Carcanis was like very hard for me to kind of like grasp and like grasp, I guess, and like understand a little bit. Um, but maybe on reread, I would understand it a little bit better. I would like have more appreciation for that storyline. It just was. It was kind of a hard storyline for me to kind of like get a hold of and like understand, I guess. But I don't know. I liked it for what it was. I didn't hate it, but I thought the battle scenes were cool. The dragon fights were cool. Yeah, the Hounds of Light coming in and fucking shit up. That was also kind of cool. A lot of cool scenes, a lot of cool moments. Um, and then what else? Yeah, there's a whole Aura Ethiel was a little disappointing when it, like, her motivations were just kind of like boiled down to like she wants to fuck Tool. Like she wants to like just impress this guy. So I thought that was a little lackluster. I didn't love that too much. I don't know. I thought she was fine. Villain wise, I guess. I just found her motivations a little bit lacking, and that's fine. I guess like not every villain can, like, you know. It would feel a little bit generic and a little bit overplayed if like every villain just like wants to destroy the world, right? I feel that'd be a little bit outplayed. You know, it's like, okay, like, and she wants to destroy the world too. Like, okay, like, you know, how many people want to destroy the world? That's a little bit cartoonish, I guess. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I didn't hate or love her character too much. I thought her like bickering and fighting with Torrent was kind of cool, and Torrent standing up to her for the children. I thought it was pretty cool. So I did enjoy that. Um, I guess we'll get into the Cripple God himself and how I felt about that stuff. So one thing that I've like sort of noticed probably since like maybe Reaper's Gale, I guess, is like the Cripple God himself, and like how I feel about the Cripple God, because I feel like, especially in the ending of this, the Cripple God is a character. I mean, he starts off as like, oh my god, like he's a big bad guy. Like, this is the big bad. This is who we're up against. This is who we're fighting. This is who we're working towards fighting against. And slowly but surely, we kind of get to this point where, like, well, is the Cripple God even that bad? Like, isn't he like being, wasn't like this, like the Cripple God is not even from this realm. He was dragged from his own realm to this realm, so like he doesn't even like want to be here. he's being chained to the earth, and his power is being used by the other gods. But like, and he like wants to break free. He wants to like get revenge. But like, yeah, because like he's being held captive here. Like so. And I think it kind of comes down to like showing compassion for a god, right? Um. So yeah, I don't hate that. I don't hate the redemption of like, hey, let's like show compassion for this god. I will say I do feel like I do wish there was a little bit more resolution on like the whole, because like the crippled god did do a lot of fucked up things. Like let's not forget like in Memories of Ice with like the Panion Seer and the Panion Domain, and then like with the whole Lether army, which he just kind of like conducts genocide. You know what I mean? Like it's I'm a little. I wish we had a little bit more. I don't know, like clarification or a little bit more of like some resolve there. I guess, and I guess like you can point to like I remember there's a scene in book 7 where like the crippled god kind of like complains about like you know you made me who I am, like I'm feeding off the energy of my followers and like it's corrupting me, because that's how magic kind of works in this world, where like gods can corrupt people, but people can also corrupt gods. um so like maybe is like all his followers are like want him to do shit like this, and like he has to kind of like he's like compelled to do it because of what his followers want him to do. I don't know. I have to do more reading and understanding of that, I guess. But overall, I don't hate the fact that the crippled god has a little bit of redemption. Um, and I guess that kind of gets into the Herboric stuff, which, to be honest, the Herboric stuff I'm kind of confused on, and I think that's okay. Like I understand that the J statues are coming, and those are like the souls of the crippled god's followers, like from where he is from, right? And Hiboric has like the jade and the Ototero hands, and he does like some magic, and everything's okay. That's like I like that's how far I got. Like I'm sure on reread I'll understand that more maybe. But that's all I got, and I'm like okay with that. I don't know. I don't think I need to know like I don't know. It's like one of the things where it's like, do I need to know the how? You know what I mean? Like, how does Haborg do these things? Like, I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if I even really care, to be honest. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, okay, fine. Like, free the crippled god. Just free him. Save the world. Free him. Like I'm kind of at that point at the series at that point. Um, especially since like Malazan itself has a very soft magic system. Like stuff kind of happens and everything, and like explanation is like later on and stuff. And especially since like even like a lot of people with this own world don't really understand the magic system. You know what I mean? Like even people like there's people in this world who don't even understand warrens, even though warrens are like part of this magic system. But some people don't even understand like how do warrens work, and some people are like, I don't know, man. I just use this magic shit and it works. It's like so. I don't know. It doesn't really bother me. Like if it might bother you if you're like one of those people who like have to know everything. But like I don't know. It didn't really take me out or anything like that. And then obviously like Shadow Throne kill no well Cotillion killed the crippled god in order to send him back to his homeland, to his I guess original realm and stuff. Um, so I thought that was beautiful. I thought that was great. A great ending to his character and the crippled god itself. Um, yeah, and it's like showing compassion for even a god. I will say I do wish maybe we got more clarity about like all those things, but I guess maybe it goes back to like his followers, you know, because the crippled god is like the fallen one, so like he kind of represents like the idea of like suffering and things like the people who are suffering. They tend to like they want to lash out and get revenge, and so like, they kind of see the crippled god as like a way to kind of like enact those feelings of vengeance and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm just kind of maybe there's something there, maybe there's not. I don't know, but overall, I really, really love this ending. I really, really love this book series. It's a shame to see it go. I'm sad to watch it leave. This book series has got me through so many ups and downs, and I'm glad I finished it. It was definitely a daunting task to start this. I was worried about, never there. Don't get me wrong. There were definitely times where I was like, I don't know if I can finish this book series, but I'm glad I pushed through. I'm glad I kept going. I'm glad I saw the finish line, and yeah, I think the ending. I think is a great ending. I mean, I'll get more into my like my feelings, rankings, and stuff like that. Um, I guess ranking wise, I will put this probably in the like top, somewhere in the top half. I won't say like where in the top half, but it's definitely like one of my favorite books, The Crippled God. Where it falls ranking wise, I would have to like get more specific and think more about it. Um, Especially like if it gets up to like top three, because at that point it's like I liked all of those books. You know what I mean? So I guess this video is a little bit shorter. I'm like around like 40 minutes or so, but I don't want to ramble on too much because I can't think of everything. But oh, there's like, oh wait, there's no wait, there's more stuff to talk about. The epilogues. What am I talking about? The other there's the whole Gardens of the Moon epilogue, but then there's um talk becomes a bridge burner, which is amazing. I love that. And then like Hatan comes back alive, and Tool and Hatan, their children, come back together, which I thought was a beautiful recapping of like Dust of Dreams and Hatan's hobbling, which I thought was, which obviously like I talked about that in my last review. Um, and then Corlett, Whiskey Jack's girlfriend, she gets to see Whiskey Jack one last time, and like I thought that was beautiful. I don't know why, but I thought that was like beautiful. I don't know. I thought like it's just like I don't know. I think there was just so many great, beautiful moments, and there are like tragedies in this book. Don't get me wrong. Like we lose some characters and we lose people and stuff, but like there's just so many good moments too. Whereas like man, like I'm glad they're together. I'm glad they're back together and stuff. And like don't get me wrong. There are some tragedies like Mabo's death. I guess you can even say Gruntel's death was kind of a tragedy. Maybe that was like maybe the point of me being confused is that like it was just a big misunderstanding. Like sometimes there's just big misunderstandings and things like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much. Maybe I'm trying to put meaning into that. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into that. But um, yeah, like I thought this was a beautiful book. Um, I think it's definitely one of my favorite books in the series, The Crippled God. I think this is like um an amazing ending. I think I like almost teared up a little bit reading Tavor's speech, and like her speech about being unknown and just like being like, the history books aren't gonna know us, aren't gonna remember us, but that doesn't matter because you'll know what you did, and the person next to you will know what you did, and that's fine. And that's where the Book of the Fallen comes from, man. This is the Book of the Fallen. Everyone, like, it's about like, and I think if you read this book as this whole series as a whole, that like you are you're seeing people and characters in different parts of their lives doing different things in their lives, and like their lives will continue on and their storylines will continue on and stuff, and like just remembering all the sacrifices and all the um unknown people who do great things that we don't know about, and all the sacrifices people make for compassion and for their fellow for humanity, and I think it's fitting. I guess that is in a way the crippled god's redemption, I guess, because like it's revealed later on that he's like I will write about the fallen. I will write a book of the fallen. You know what I mean? So I guess that's sort of like so I guess in a way like Kurt like canonically the crippled god wrote Malazan Book of the Fallen, right? I guess you can kind of say like so he in a way like he is like writing about his own flaws, right? His own failures. Like, yeah, like I did the genocide in Lether. I did the Penguin Seer and the Penguin Domain, and that whole battle and war and things like that. So like so those things won't get lost to history. They won't get lost to time. They'll be recorded forever. So I guess maybe that's his redemption. I don't know. Maybe that's the whole point. I don't know. I guess the whole point is just to be compassionate and love people and care about people and support people and what you can do and be there for each other, you know, because life's hard and sometimes we all need a little bit of support and a little bit of compassion. So I guess that's the whole point of Malazan. I don't know, but yeah, I guess where does that leave me? To be honest, I'm a little bit burnt out from fantasy. I might dip into a little sci-fi later on. I think right now I'm kind of taking a little break. I'm not done reading, obviously. I love to read, but I'm changing up the vibes a little bit. I might do read some other books in my off time. Maybe I'll post reviews of them. Maybe I won't. But I think in terms of like next long series, I kind of want a little break from long series right now. But I think the next long series I'll read will probably be Sun Eater. I probably will take a crack at Sun Eater, a little sci-fi. Even though I know it's like sci-fi fantasy, you know what I mean? But I know that book series is over, so like I kind of want to stick with book series that are finished. So I will, you know, start that when I start it. And don't get me wrong, the Malazan content is not done. I will probably be doing a rankings books ranking at some point, and I will also be doing like a series review about the series and like how I feel about it and the series as a whole. And should you read Malazan Book of the Fallen? I don't know. We'll find out. But until then, thank you so much for this journey. Thank you for everyone who's watched these videos. And I enjoy making them. So thank you so much. And until next time, see you later.